Every night, before the world outside went quiet and the city lights painted soft patterns on her ceiling, she would sit down with a pen and a piece of paper. This wasn't a diary, not in the traditional sense. It was a ritual, a quiet conversation across time. She wrote letters, each one addressed to the future me. Some nights the letters were filled with bold promises. "Future me," she'd write, her pen scratching with determination. "I promise by the time you read this, we'll have learned to play the guitar. We won't let fear hold us back from making music, even if it's just for ourselves. We'll have finished that novel we keep talking about. No more excuses." These were blueprints of a braver self, detailed plans for a life she yearned to build. Other nights the ink was stained with apologies. "I'm sorry," a letter might begin, the words softer, more hesitant. "I'm sorry I let someone's opinion dim our light today. I'm sorry I chose silence when our hearts screamed to speak up. I promise, future me, I'll try to be stronger for you. I'll learn to be our own best advocate." These were acknowledgments of her humanness, her stumbles, and her quiet resolve to do better. And then there were the letters of pure encouragement, written on days when the sun felt a little warmer, her steps a little lighter. "Hey you," she'd scroll with a smile. "Just a reminder that you're doing great. Remember that small win at work today? We nailed it. Don't ever forget that feeling. You are capable, you are smart, and you've got this. Keep going." These were bottled moments of joy, little sparks of self-belief saved for a rainy day. She'd fold each letter, seal it in an envelope, and tuck it away in an old wooden box under her bed. The box grew heavier over the months, then years. It became a silent companion, a tangible record of her journey. She didn't have a plan for when she'd open them, maybe on a significant birthday or a major milestone. For now, the act of writing was enough. It was an act of faith in a future self who would one day exist, who would be the recipient of all this hope, all this regret, and all this love. Life, as it often does, continued its unpredictable dance. There were promotions and heartbreaks, new friendships and painful goodbyes. Through it all, the ritual remained. The box under the bed became a dense archive of a life being lived, one letter at a time. She was, in a way, raising herself. She was planting seeds of resilience, watering them with ink, and trusting that something beautiful would eventually grow. She was her own parent, her own mentor, her own cheerleader, all communicating through a one-way correspondence with tomorrow. Then came the storm. It wasn't a single, dramatic event, but a slow, creeping erosion of everything she thought was stable. A dream job turned into a nightmare of burnout. A relationship she had poured her soul into crumbled into dust, leaving behind a silence that was louder than any argument. Friendships drifted, and the city that once felt full of opportunity suddenly felt like a cage. The world went from vibrant color to a muted, unforgiving gray. She found herself at rock bottom, a place she had only read about. It was a hollow, breathless space where hope couldn't survive. She felt utterly broken, a mosaic of shattered pieces with no instructions on how to put them back together. One night, while packing up her life, her hand brushed against the familiar wood of the box under her bed. It felt heavier than ever, not just with paper, but with the weight of a past she could barely recognize as her own. With nothing left to lose, she pulled it out, blew off a layer of dust, and lifted the lid. The scent of old paper and ink filled the room. She reached in and pulled out a random envelope. Her own handwriting, a bit neater, a bit more youthful, stared back at her. The future me. Her hands trembled as she opened it. The letter was from 5 years ago. "Future me," it read. "I promise by the time you read this, we'll have learned to say no. We won't overextend ourselves for people who don't appreciate our energy. Our peace will be our priority." She sank to the floor, the letter clutched in her hand. A forgotten promise from a younger, wiser self. She had learned to say no. She had started prioritizing her peace. She'd just forgotten. She opened another. This one was an apology from 3 years back. "I'm sorry I let fear stop us from applying for that art course. I was scared of not being good enough. Future me, please. If you ever feel that fear again, remember it's just a feeling. It's not a fact. Do the thing that scares you. She remembered that fear vividly. But she also remembered that 6 months after writing that letter, she had enrolled in a pottery class, her hands covered in clay, her heart full. One by one, she opened the letters. It was like excavating her own soul. The letters weren't from a stranger. They were from the promises weren't empty. Many of them had been fulfilled in small, unnoticed ways. The apologies weren't for nothing. They were the starting points of growth she had long since integrated. The encouragements weren't just words. They were echoes of genuine moments of strength she had forgotten she possessed. She opened a letter written on a particularly bad day. "I know things are tough right now," her past self had written. "It feels like you're drowning, but listen to me. We've been through hard things before. We survived. You are tougher than you think. Just breathe. Get through the next hour, then the next. I'm here with you." Tears streamed down her face, but these weren't tears of sorrow. They were tears of recognition. The voice in these letters, this compassionate, firm, and loving voice, was her own. It had been with her all along. The letters weren't just memories. They were a blueprint. Hidden in her own handwriting was the architectural plan for her own resilience. The promises showed her what she truly valued. The apologies pinpointed the exact areas where she had grown. The encouragements were a testament to her innate strength. She had been building her future self, brick by brick, letter by letter, without even realizing the full scope of her project. She wasn't broken beyond repair. She was a house that had weathered a hurricane, with shattered windows and a damaged roof, but the foundation was solid. And right here, scattered across her floor, was the original blueprint for how to rebuild. That night she didn't pack. Instead, she spread the letters out, organizing them by theme: promises, growth, strength, forgiveness. It was a curriculum for survival, authored by the only person who knew her inside and out. The next morning, she woke up and took out a pen and paper. But this time, she wasn't writing to the future. She was writing to the present. She wrote down one promise from an old letter: "We will create something beautiful, just for us." She went out and bought a small set of watercolors. She painted a clumsy, vibrant, and wonderfully imperfect sunset. It was the first time she had created anything in months. She found the letter about doing the thing that scares you. She looked up local volunteer opportunities, something her anxiety had always stopped her from pursuing. She signed up to walk dogs at the local animal shelter. The fear was there, a familiar hum in her veins, but another voice was now louder, the one from the letters, cheering her on. She didn't magically fix her life overnight. Rebuilding is slow, painstaking work, but now she had a guide. Whenever she felt lost or overwhelmed, she would return to the box. She'd pull out a letter and listen to the voice of the young woman who had so much faith in her, the girl who promised she'd be brave, the woman who apologized for her own missteps and vowed to learn, the person who, on a sunny Tuesday afternoon, reminded her that she was doing great. She was her own architect, her own construction crew, her own biggest investor. The letters were the proof. She realized the most important voice we need to hear is often our own. It's the voice of our own past, reminding us of how far we've come, and the voice of our future, calling us forward to the person we are meant to be. Sometimes that voice doesn't come from a mentor or a book. Sometimes it arrives in envelopes, postmarked from your own past, delivered right when you need it the most. You already possess the strength you need to survive. You just have to be willing to open the letters and listen. Thank you for watching. If this story resonated with you, remember to be kind to yourself today. You're doing better than you think. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories like this. See you next time.